Sounds good.
Okay. So we were saying we like Mary this season, but Mary's clearly checked in. I mean, you've said this before.
Yeah, I would just love to know what the difference is. Was it truly a producer conversation? You got to get with it. But even then, I don't think she can fake it that much. I think she truly is in a better space or something, that she just comes across more fun, more vocal.
Well, it's also Robert Sr. is nowhere to be found, so maybe there's a little bit of that. Maybe she's getting...
she does better without him around. Yeah.
So Bronwyn, though, is actively like coming after Heather. I mean, I wrote down one comment that was like, she calls Heather, "You're not the head bitch in charge."
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that...
Whoa, Bronwyn, neither are you. You're brand new, but okay.
In the after show, Bronwyn is sitting next to Whitney, I believe, which is interesting, right? Because Heather's sitting next to Meredith. Lisa Barlow is sitting next to Brittany Bateman.
Which, good God, Lisa must have been pissed she got Brittany as her paired up person.
And Bronwyn and Whitney are sitting together.
And then Mary and Angie.
Yeah, Mary and Angie.
Besties.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Brittany. Brittany's storyline is giving. I mean...
It is.
She brings
for friend of.
Right.
Right? She is friend of.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, because Bronwyn's
and she brings in Heather. I'm sorry, Aaron.
Now you're like Mary mixing
it all up. But Jared still shows up, Jessica. Why? That was so cringeworthy.
That was so awkward. But also, we're glancing over that Heather kissed Aaron. That was like, he was also out on the market, on the town, and that Heather was like, I know him. And that allegedly Heather and Brittany are such buddies. And she had no idea that Heather knew Aaron. It's like, oh my God. I mean, it is incestual, I'm sure.
Right, because it seems small.
There's only and in such a Mormon religious, I bet like everyone's coupled up. Like there's probably not many singles.
Right. I feel like in Jared showing up, though, he completely blows any sort of cool guy, Brittany took it too far, anything that was originally in that narrative. Yeah. By showing up, you look so thirsty.
Yes. And someone online I saw, they were like, oh my God, Jared got a text message. Can you come to a party? Like threw on a suit and was there in 20 minutes. Like it's giving desperate. So he wants the limelight as much as he can say, she's using me for it. And that's just... ridiculous. I don't like, but I loved that it was Whitney's husband Justin texted him, and Justin's like, oops. Like Justin who truly did not know what he was doing.
It's very husband behavior. Come on over, dude.
Yeah. And a guy shows up and you're like, what the hell? Like so and so, they're like recent exes here, what are you doing?
But it was also the first time that we've actually heard that Whitney's husband is friends with Jared, so that feels like Jared texted him to try and get himself into the mix as well, right?
And who knows, with them being so hot cold, Brittany and Jared, he probably knew Angie was having a party. Like he probably was going to attend with her. They broke up 5 days prior, and he still wanted an invite.
Right. So on the after show, Bronwyn specifically brings up the fact that while the go the distance, Whitney's a liar, Justin gets involved, conversation is happening, she's having a conversation on how small Jared's package is. And she says that. I was like, oh my God.
She's just looking from in his pants?
No.
Or she's heard from...
Like, while that whole drama is going on, she's having a conversation with Brittany, which never made the cut. And they were talking about that. I couldn't believe she said that on camera, Jessica. I mean, this is like, I feel this man is he's gonna come for people. Like,
yeah. Oh, I wouldn't.
He doesn't take it lying down when people are smearing him.
She better watch out. She's literally gonna be sued for defamation. He's gonna have to like prove the size of his manhood.
So the other thing that Lisa drops is that, and stop me if this was actually on the thing, but I thought it was so interesting about Jared, is that Jared was married to this woman and then he divorced her, and then he apparently dated this kind of wild woman in Salt Lake, like kind of a slut. Let's just call her a slut.
Okay.
And she had, Lisa said, tricks that she had sexually, I believe.
Okay.
And Jared, like, the wool was pulled away from his eyes of like how like lusty and how what could be done if you dated the right women. And Lisa clearly thinks that because he got a taste of that kind of Salt Lake City
lifestyle,
that slut, that he wanted to just date like he couldn't date anybody. He doesn't want to, lock it down. He wants no commitment. That's literally what Lisa said, like live on TV, Jessica. I'm like, dang.
They are, I mean, that's the thing though. That's the little bit where I'm like, you got to be prepared for what you're signing up for. Like, right. I would not be shocked if he's going to take legal action for some of this.
For some of it, right? Okay, and then the last thing I want to tell you from the after show is that Lisa did acknowledge the fact that she explained that Angie used to tell her that to get people off the phone, she would use that Electra excuse.
Yeah.
So Lisa knew that the Electra excuse was in full force.
And then it was used on her.
Yes. Which I thought that was quite telling. I'm like,
yeah, I guess it's a little bit of an asterisk, but
it's a little different than maybe what Angie made it feel like in that moment.
Yeah. And then the only other thing, Bronwyn's outfit when at the mop party, I just wrote, it's giving Cookie Monster. It's like really fuzzy and blue.
The blue fuzz.
I mean, she is not afraid of color. She definitely wears a lot of colorful things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just never going to understand the fashion.
No. But I do like Bronwyn. She is a great
ad. Yeah.
Great.
Even
first
Brittany.
Season. Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show you that franchise, for some reason, that has magic, franchise.
I just saw a ratings thing of the 4 housewives that are on right now. Oh gosh, am I going to get this right? OC the most. Potomac second.
Oh, interesting.
Salt Lake third, and Roni last.
Yeah.
Roni doesn't surprise me. It's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
and like we said, I think they're already losing people. But Salt Lake was barely above Roni.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
I just think
best.
They're able to bring the drama in a way that feels light, Speaking of a season that's not able to bring the drama with a way that feels light is the OC. Let's move on.
Everything. Great segue, Lauren, because everything is quite dark.
Everything is lawsuit. Let's just recap. There's one, Alexis's lawsuit towards Tamara and Shannon was talked about at the beginning of the season. John Jansen has a lawsuit for Shannon going on during the season. Tamara we see in this episode, has some sort of background check going on Ryan back in the day. Shannon also investigates legal papers on Gina pushing Travis on the steps at one point. And Tamara also brings up Ryan's FBI stuff.
Yes.
So the amount that this cast is flirting with the law just as part of their plot lines, Jessica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. Okay. So Real Housewives of OC. So we're still in London. I mean, this cast trip is going on a while, I feel like, Jessica. Yeah, Jessica's going to London too, again, for the second time this year. So she's going to go to all of the haunts. And reenact every scene.
If I can afford them, I'll go take an etiquette class. But funny you say that, where Shannon met her daughters right by Tower Bridge. Literally took a selfie there. It's a very popular spot because it's a great vantage point of the bridge. But then where they walked and had lunch, literally walked past it. I know the exact restaurant she went to.
You're basically on the show,
I
Jessica.
Literally was like, wait, when were they there? Is there any chance I'm in the background? No. I was there in September. I think they filmed this a while ago.
All right, so we need to talk quickly about the Tamara of it all. Excuse me. So Jen finally finds her voice and blows up at Tamara. Everyone is queening her as
she deserves it.
HBSC, she should get middle orange, people are saying next season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, people are loving Jen. So Tamara, to me, I can only describe Tamara in this episode as like literally drowning and flailing around trying to grab anything and anyone to take her down with them.
Seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
She is chucking things out and is like, what's going to happen? I know. It's just screaming, desperate. And she is the epitome of someone's like, I'm taking you down with me.
Yeah. So she first tries to show everyone that Shannon was involved in digging up stuff on Ryan. That backfired on her because Jen then blows up at her. But that was what she was trying to do. She was trying to say, well, if you scroll back in the text messages, you can see that Shannon was actually the one that wanted that.
Yeah. Both guilty. She was just trying to also involve Shannon.
Right. Of course. Just constantly bring down Shannon.
Yes.
I mean, the Shannon and Tamara, the one thing that makes me really sad is they were truly true best friends.
I know.
That has just gone so sour. Jessica, it would be like if you and I really hated each other starting tomorrow, and then you pulled up all my old text messages around people that we will not name that I was talking shiz about, and you just showed it to them.
And that's the sad part. Like you said, they were like, that was a true friendship.
Yeah.
For how many years? As much as Tamara wants to say it was one-sided and, I was just there for Shannon and whatever. But yeah, I know. You kind of hope that even if you ever have a friendship that just deteriorates or whatever, obviously this is on another scale when it's Real Housewives and it's filmed, but like you kind of just think things will stay a little sacred.
Right.
Where you're like, I don't think Lauren's going to post my entire text thread to Instagram and tag the people I talked shit about 4 years ago. Like,
right.
I kind of think she'll do me that courtesy, but not Tamara Judge.
Not Tamara Judge. So another area that I think Tamara brings it up, but correct me if I'm wrong, which is usually sacred on these shows, is the fact that there are kids talking about how they don't like Heather Dubrow, or their moms don't like Heather Dubrow.
That was the weirdest like story that got brought up. I was like, I'm sorry, but can we reverse? Okay. Katie's daughter like babysat 9-year-old twins and told her mother, who in turn told Tamara with like a gleeful look,
right,
that these 9-year-old boys said that Heather Dubrow's a mean lady.
And then Tamara took it and went to Heather and said it, right?
Yes. Of course.
But I don't know what Katie's daughter was doing. Like, no. I don't know what Katie is doing. I don't know what that's like. Why on earth would that be something that you would be in the mix on? Katie's daughter, 19 years old.
You know, when like something is so weird, I tend to believe it happened.
Yeah, right.
Because like you said, it's more diabolical that she goes, I just babysat these 9-year-old boys. I'm going to just make up something they said that will cause drama for my mom on her show. Like, that is really fucking weird.
Right.
And Emily seemed a little like, and I get it, again, this is where it truly is. The kids are off limits. Her 9-year-old boys, we barely see them. Like, they're not really filmed.
Yeah.
And they're 9. Like, we're not going to talk about that.
We hold them in no ways accountable on anything.
Yeah. But Emily did seem a little bit like, you're bringing up my kids? Like, you'll never babysit again. And I was like, well, I kind of think they might have said something.
Right. But I also think that
I would repeat stuff.
Yeah. I would not want that girl babysitting again.
No.
The fact that she did that. Jessica, I mean, that was like, she's 19. There's more accountability. Just like we hold Robert Jr. accountable.
Yes, thank you. I was about to say, interesting. 19 again. She chooses to film. She's done a confessional here and there.
Right. And your mom is standing nearby when you're filming. Like, Katie could have said, no, that's not, she could have softened it. She could have said, let's not talk about the kids, though.
Yeah.
Instead, she fueled it. So anyway, that was so weird, especially with all these women are so quick to say, don't talk about the kids.
Yeah.
And even our trolls in our comment section have said, kids are off limits. Don't talk about them. Well, this storyline was about them.
Yeah. We are just repeating the storyline. We are not talking about them.
Right. Okay. One thing I want to ask you about, which is so small during this London trip, Heather and Tamara seem to be constantly getting glam done.
Yes, like every scene is them in their chairs.
Just go like prom hair.
Yeah.
Like it's just like they're going for a walk in London town.
Yeah.
Everyone else has long, just normal blown on hair. And Heather and Tamara have like literally like ringlet curls going on. I'm like,
that's really funny you say, because OC is the only one, and my mom watches New Jersey, but OC, she's been like since the get-go. And so she'll always chat to me about OC. And just this past week, she's like, I loved Heather's updo at that dinner. So my mom even was like, I loved that updo she had done.
There's like girls going to prom like next May who are going to like pull up Heather Dubrow as like their reference shot.
It was a good updo.
But Jessica, let's be clear. It was an updo.
But like, this goes back to how poorly I think housewives actually enjoy the cities they're in. They're in their rooms getting glam for so long. That dinner was in the hotel.
Right.
They came into the lobby and they went to the adjoining restaurant.
You didn't need an updo for that.
To then have the etiquette class.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Well, also, can I say one thing that I noticed is that they are drinking during those glam things. Did you saw the champagne back there?
Yeah.
And Tamra notoriously does horrible when she's drunk. I think she walked into each all cast filming moment like 2 to 3 glasses of wine in.
After her blow up and like she claims, you know, she was drunk at Katie's dinner when she went off on Ryan. She on the like Watch What Happens Live, she's like, I'm like a 1 drink kind of girl. My ass, like you said, you're not having 1 glass the whole time you're getting glam. You're having at least. Then you're going to dinner and having more. So just when she constantly goes to Shannon calling her a drunk and all that, I'm like, shh. Like, Tamra, you have no, if you were a sober Sally, maybe you can then, even though you should still never be like calling someone out like that, but
little liquid courage, I think, was in there. Also, Jessica, and I went way too deep into this thought process, but just think about when you're getting glam and it's somebody you're paying, they're of course going to agree with you on like anything that you're chit-chatting about. Yeah. So I think she not only was having a few glasses of wine, but then also talking to like her favorite gay hairdresser. And he was probably
hyping her up.
Yes. So she literally shot out of a cannon on each one of these like group things because of that.
If Tamra has glam, watch out because she has been like working on her talking points.
Right, exactly. All right, so I want to hear your thoughts on Heather because Heather takes a role that can only be thought of as like coach. Tamra's like coach during all of this madness where she was like trying to coach Tamra in the glam, after the glam in the room. Like, I'm like, Heather, what?
Of how to handle the Jen situation. Yeah.
And Tamra wasn't listening.
No.
Tamra was not being a good student.
One ear, not the other. Literally.
It's so weird, though, because it's like Heather is clearly sided herself with Tamra, but also is like trying to control the beast that is Tamra, but not doing a good job. I mean, I think this is Heather's main role in life. Like, if Heather can coach you on something, she's going to do it.
Yes.
But I'm like, Heather, what are you doing?
This goes back to why are Heather and Tamra so attached at the hip, and siding on the Alexis side of everything.
Right.
There is some weird something going on, and everyone, of course, is like, who's got dirt on who? Because there's something there. Or Heather's just going, oh my God, I'm seeing how far Tamra's willing to go in a friendship. I'm not going to have Tamra expose my stuff. Right. I think this might be a scare tactic.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
interesting.
Yeah. What is with, I remember that headline of Gina pushing, allegedly, Travis down the stairs. And I know she's saying that's the crazy ex-wife.
Yeah, right.
Do you think that's just totally made up?
I do, only because, again, on Reddit, people are tracking. That could be wrong.
All truth.
There was something that was signed that I read that was between Travis, Gina, and the ex that said that Gina would not disparage the ex live on camera or anywhere else. So I think Gina's reaction in the moment is so odd because it's like it's being brought up, but Gina can't say the truth of it, which is like... the ex maybe had something to do with the throwing down the steps or the falling down the steps. But then the one thing that Gina says that you catch is that's why she's like, I literally split up the love of my life and our families to get away from this mess. Yeah. So I do think it is ex associated. And I think Gina can't say it perfectly because she signed this thing.
Okay. That makes sense.
But what do you think? You think it was made up?
I would assume like Gina, especially... that I'm assuming that's a story that allegedly happened somewhat recently. Like, she's been sober for a while. We have never seen Gina have like a huge explosion or like short fuse. And then to also be sober, you know what I mean? Like, is that really what a woman does to shove her much larger boyfriend? She just does not strike me as someone that would ever lead to violence, that would resort to violence.
So you think this story was completely made up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, she can't really say it, but it gives a lot more context to her going, we had to move out.
Yeah.
We had to split up because things were getting so bad with the ex-wife that she needed to separate.
And I think Gina claims that I think the ex actually planted that story, by the way.
Yeah.
So that would also lead to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, there's a couple of other things that happen, but I feel like one of the things Shannon is confronting Heather about why she brought up the bloody photograph in front of the group, even though she'd already told Tamara. I mean, that's the problem, is like no one's house is clean in this season, so it's really hard to root for even Shannon, where they all seem to be double talking.
Yeah. No, it just, like we were saying, the OC has so many feuds and legal cases and stuff going on that Shannon and Heather are having what in another like franchise would be a pretty big discussion about this bloody photo. Meanwhile, inside, Tamara's telling Gina, Shannon pulled up stuff about you pushing your boyfriend down the stairs. Like, it's just insane, the level,
the
like
production
the amount,
crew.
The fact that we like don't even care about the Shannon Heather.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I totally agree, Jessica.
There's just then the cake.
Oh,
Happy birthday. And Shannon's like, I'm out of here.
I feel bad for Shannon. That trip was a disaster.
I know, and it was her birthday trip.
That was a disaster.
Poor Shannon.
Poor Shannon. I hope we get some resolution. Now, I posted this, but the cameras do pick back up.
Yes.
Our favorite phrase.
Yeah.
It's got to be Jen and Ryan, I think. It's got to be Jen and Ryan with that FBI stuff.
Yeah. Because I can't think of anything else that
would be so...
that hasn't hit the news that we haven't already heard about.
Right.
But picked back up like pretty recently?
Before the reunion.
Ooh.
So we get the classic, wait, there's more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that reunion was only probably a month ago at this point.
Yeah.
So they did pick back up a ways after filming would have ended.
Yeah. So I think my guess is Ryan Jen, just because there's nothing else in my mind.
I know. Okay. Or there'll be some like cheating thing that hasn't hit. If it was, we'd have heard it. If it was a Heather or a Tamara, it would be in the news. So
now, before we move on to our second segment here,
yes,
I do want to touch on Real Housewives of Potomac, because it shockingly is doing well in the ratings, as we said.
It is.
My major takeaway, so Karen has got a DUI, and that's the big part of the season. But my other major...
But it's like barely being discussed. Well, as best as Karen can help it.
Because she can't do it. She can't talk about it. The one thing that is my main takeaway, because we're not going to go into Potomac as deeply as others, but is that Mia has this boyfriend named Ink, and it is just shocking to me, Jessica, of how like serious they seem after the breakup with Gordon.
Yeah.
I said this, I was saying to you this before we got on, but Mia's intro line has Ink referenced in it. They're clearly basically living together almost. Ink thinks one of her kids is his kid, which he openly talks about in the last couple of episodes. I was shocked by that.
I know.
Anyway, that's my big, like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, I agree. The Mia stuff is messy. And I mean, it feels like Ink is just appearing so suddenly because he's been there all along.
He's been there.
He's been in the background. It's very evident.
Obvious.
Mia has like kind of never ended it with him, even though she's been married for like 8 or 10 years.
And she's acting like, ew, Gordon. And it's like, Gordon was your husband for 10 years. Like,
yeah.
She's acting as though Gordon is like her dad that won't like leave the room.
Dad,
like, get out of my room. Yeah, Jessica, I'm like so shocked by all of it.
I know. Mia, I am a little worried Mia is willing to do whatever for the show, and I think it's like she'll maybe have like one more season in her and then she'll be left, and it's just gonna be like a very sad situation for the things she's put her family through.
And unlike Rebecca Minkoff, who's friend of and for some odd reason is appearing in everything, the Real Housewives of Potomac has a lot of friend ofs that are all clearly kind of jockeying for some limelight.
I know.
Which I kind of love. I mean, let the friend ofs
duke it out.
Becky Minkoff is sitting there.
Is it a glass of champagne for Potomac?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, what is the thing they hold?
Yeah, they hold a glass of champagne. But Becky Minkoff literally, Jessica, if you get paid per episode that you're in or per scene, whatever it is, she's getting a lot. She's in everything. I don't think those girls realize, like, you don't have to invite the friend of necessarily.
She just floats in the background. You're like, oh, I spotted her.
There she is.
She barely said anything, but there she is.
Anyway, Real Housewives of Potomac is good. It's got a lot going on with it, but I think Mia and Ink, to me, just continues to shock me.
Yeah. And I want way more. I mean, Karen's DUI stuff is playing out like real time. Real time. So it's also very interesting that they started filming maybe a month after her DUI happened. So she's very tight-lipped, which is so annoying, but I do get it. That is truly illegal. She is not allowed to talk about it. And she's being smart, unlike some people who just open their mouth when it's like an ongoing thing. So she really can't talk about it, but real time, we're hearing updates about what's happening.
Have you researched whatever happened with that?
Just the thing about it was not going to be dismissed. So like, I think she still has some kind of trial date. She legit could get some time.
Well, I was reading this, that it is it's criminal.
Yeah.
And that happens when you have more than one DUI.
Yeah, because this is her second.
Yeah.
As it should be. If you don't learn your lesson, you shouldn't do it in the first place. But if you mess up and do it once, you should never, clearly, like, Gina is never going to do it again.
Right.
Shannon, I don't know.
We don't know.
Shannon might. But, yeah, it's like I mean, not that I have sympathy for someone who gets a DUI, but like, I have no sympathy for someone who gets a second one.
Right. Well, the clincher you said to me that lives rent-free in my head is that there was beer cans rattling around in her back.
Yeah.
So you didn't go out to a dinner at that point and have a big drink and then get in your car. You potentially were even drinking while driving.
Yeah. 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 Like we were saying, I mean, not something to joke about, but we do say that there's kind of a level of a DUI. You can get a DUI on a bicycle. Like, I'm sorry, if I blew a .09 from riding a bike. Right. I'm sorry, that's a DUI with an asterisk. Right. I can only do so much damage on a bicycle I'm pedaling, you know? Right. But like, yes, again, Karen actively drinking. Second time. Going a very long distance and also blowing like way over.
You got to learn a lesson at that point. Yeah. Great. So looking forward to all of it. I mean, it's the heyday of Bravo.
We got so many.
Oh, also, Jessica, I do want to congratulate you and myself. Our podcast has lasted longer than Tom Sandoval's and Raquel's.
Oh my God, we've surpassed the Vanderpumpers.
I think we have more episodes to date than either of them. So, good news on that.
That's great. But we don't like have sponsors.
Right, so we're not monetized.
No one's pulling the plug on us because we're not making enough money.
Right.
But you know what? I love that stat. Just keep it rolling. Let's find other Bravo Lab podcasts that we outlast. Yeah.
All right, let's go into our next segment, which is, what are the kids talking about these days?
Yes, and that's applicable to talking about. So not the usual. It's not an article or research or whatever. I just thought it would be fun to go through some Gen Z slang and see. Since I obviously have the answer key in front of me, I will say I knew 80%. I think I'm not going to do all of them. There's a lot, but I wanted to call out. Let's start easy. So just give me your best definition to some of these words. So salty,
annoyed.
Yeah. Annoyed about something, bitter, whatever. Slay.
Like, good job.
Yeah, like you're slaying
Fierce.
that out. Yes. Yeah, I think like fierce more so. Oh, this one's fun. Troll. We know that one all too well.
Complain.
Yeah. Someone constantly commenting on your Instagram saying
you're the worst.
You're old and cringy. Okay. Some of these I'm like, I don't think these are Gen Z. They have YOLO on here. That was like,
I think if you said
millennial.
Right. If you said that to Gen Z, Jess, I think they would roll your eyes.
Okay, here's one I did not know. Wig.
I don't know. Hair.
Well, yeah, but it's an expression of shock or amazement, as in you knocked someone's wig off. Like they're so surprised.
Oh, interesting. I kind of like that.
Right? So
instead of saying like, oh my God, I'm so shocked, I'm dead, you say like wig.
I guess. They didn't give me in a sentence, so we're going to be the losers saying it wrong. Here's another one I did not know, which also I think has double meanings. OP.
Well, I know that on Reddit is the original poster.
Right. That was what my thought was, but this is technically overpowered. Used to describe something or someone that is exceptionally strong, dominant, or unbeatable, often in video games or sports. So if it's like the OP. This one, I know you'll know, sus.
Yeah, suspect.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, and here's the final one, and this one is so stupid, but I had never heard it. I've never heard it used. Delulu is the new Solulu.
What's Solulu? I know Delulu.
For solution. So it's just like being delusional is the new way we're going to solve this.
Oh my God. I love it.
So Delulu is the new Solulu. Okay, let's start using that one.
I love it.
If you can work that into a work meeting, I'll give you $10.
I think how I'd work wig in.
Yeah.
People would literally
make sure you don't say it around anyone actually wearing a wig. They might be offended.
Oh gosh.
Okay,
love it.
well that was fun. You did pretty well.
I thought you were gonna say like even some of the more mainstream stuff like Baddie or like.
That wasn't, I mean, who knows what my list is, but like there were a ton on here that like we know. Slay, Thirsty. Do you know Stan? Like you're so obsessed with someone, like you stan them.
It makes me feel kind of good that we're not like so.
Right. I was pleasantly surprised, even though I do think some of these are millennial terms. So that's where I was like, I know that one.
Like a millennial wrote it as like Gen Z's lingo.
Yeah. In everyday life, this one just happens to have like 40 common ones. I'd say I only use like 4 though. Like I know what they mean, but I don't use them. So.
Right. Slay is, I would be,
I use it jokingly.
Like, put me in my place if I ever use the word slay as something that I actually mean. Okay, so conspiracy theories. So, unless you've been living under a rock, 2 major things have taken up all the conspiracy wires. 1 is the election, and 2 is Diddy. And Diddy, honestly, makes your stomach hurt after a certain period of time. So, I have one.
So does the election.
Right. So does the election. Totally. And thank God it's almost over. I mean, let's just say that. I don't want to hear a drop more about that orange man or the Kamala, to be honest. Okay. So the conspiracy theory is Diddy somewhat related, but not really. So I've kind of tried to steer left. I've also said we were never going to talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z because they are
for
like
legal issues.
They're firing up their legal team and going after people. But this one is so prevalent right now on TikTok. And we actually talked about it last week in Jess that I'm going to go through it. So this is alleged. And so anything we say after this point is probably not true and should be all taken with a grain of salt and is just completely fake.
And she found it on Reddit. So we all know
how
accurate
TikTok,
that is.
It's really, really, anyway. All right. So the conspiracy theory though, is that Beyonce is part of kind of the upper elite that is probably Diddy adjacent, not directly related to him, but artists have to thank her when they win a major music award to protect themselves. Yep. So, and this is all over TikTok if you've seen this, but there's usually a montage that follows of artists that have actually thanked Beyonce during their acceptance speeches.
And they seem totally random.
Totally random. Yeah. Which I did watch most of the acceptance speeches to just see, and I can comment on some of this. So Lizzo won Record of the Year in 2023. Beyonce, I believe that's when Renaissance was out. So the key is that Beyonce gets snubbed. Yes. That's when they have to thank her.
Okay.
It's not just, they don't just thank her like, I walk to school in the morning and therefore I thank Beyonce. It's like when she gets snubbed, then they have to make sure that they thank her during their speech. So Lizzo wins Record of the Year over Beyonce's Renaissance, and she thanks Beyonce, and she says that Beyonce is the artist of her life. Mm-hmm. Adele back in 2017 wins Artist of the Year over Beyonce, cries the entire time, and thanks Beyonce profusely for 80% of the actual speech. Shaboozey, do you know who that is?
I know. Oh, he has that really
super popular song. Yeah. He actually was at the People's Country Choice Music Awards recently, which is a random one.
Beyonce got really snubbed by the country.
Exactly, Jessica. So her Country Carter album was snubbed, people were saying. And so Shaboozey wins New Artist of the Year and uses the moment to thank Beyonce. Oh, there's more.
Oh, my. Do you have the JoJo Siwa one? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
that one felt really random.
But that one, I think JoJo Siwa was trying to like insert herself into like cultural dialogue. So let's talk about that. So JoJo Siwa at the Industry Dance Awards. So not even Beyonce adjacent.
The most the Industry Dance Awards have ever been discussed.
Right. And she says thanks to Beyonce to keep the dance community safe. I think she was trying to just make a joke.
Okay.
Because that's very JoJo Siwa. She's doing the most right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
But the one that I also thought was interesting was Britney Spears. Back in 2011, I think at the VMAs, she won the Vanguard Award back then, which is like the most prestigious award you could win, Jessica. It's like, it's a life award. You are that instrumental to the music committee. I watched her speech. She spent 95% of it talking about how great Beyonce was. And then she introduced her as like 2011. Yeah. As I said, it was a Lifetime Achievement Award. Then people are also saying the VMAs 13 years ago, infamous Kanye getting up on stage when he jumps in and says Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time during Taylor Swift's thing. Now people are saying he was potentially protecting Taylor because she didn't know that she had to thank Beyonce. Beyonce also got snubbed during that. Where it was her single ladies.
Was up against, Taylor.
Concluding in the wildest conspiracy theory piece of this all is that Harry Styles back in 2023 wins Album of the Year. So different from Lizzo's recording of the year, Album of the Year over Beyonce, and does not thank Beyonce during his speech, and then was asked about it later on. And what was a little cringeworthy is Beyonce seemed to stand up as though she was going to go claim the award.
Oh, gosh.
And then it was actually Harry Styles who won. And now people are saying that Beyonce confused Liam, who is the guy in One Direction.
Stop.
The guy in One Direction, if anyone's following this, he was recently on cocaine in a hotel in Paris. And
South America,
thank you. And he was running wild in this hotel. And the 911 call is of somebody saying, we think he's going to hurt himself. Yeah. He, lo and behold, finds his way off the balcony and does pass away. Yeah. However, the conspiracy theorists are saying Harry should have thanked Beyonce during that speech, and Beyonce actually got them confused or sacrificed Liam because Harry did not say thank you. Now, the odd part about this whole thing is Beyonce was in the same hotel as Liam.
Stop it.
2 days before.
Stop it. No. That's verified. Like, there are paparazzi photos. She was there.
I mean, this is Jessica. This is right.
I have to look into this one. This is insane because I was about to be like, "This is crazy. That's so dumb." Harry Styles, Liam Payne, and then you say that they're in the same hotel, and now I am buying everything you're selling.
Right? So I don't know. This is a trend. So the key with conspiracy theories that we know is people try and make sense of things that you cannot make sense of. So Liam, jumping off the balcony on his drug, bender. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that cannot make sense of why that happened.
And he had come forward like maybe less than a year ago saying he was sober. So that's why it's like even people are, nobody shocking. Wants to think about that he relapsed and how sad it is.
So I do think there's some of that going on. Now, there's also a tiny TikTok thing that's blowing up that, that song by J. Cole called She Knows.
Oh, yeah.
Which is supposed to be about the fact that She Knows is actually Knowles, which is Beyonce. And Knowles. Beyonce's kind of knows about all this stuff. Is also blocked on YouTube. But I just checked that today and that's not true. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
You know what would be interesting? I don't even know. Is it still a thing? Remember when Jay-Z launched Tidal to try to be like the next Spotify?
I think Kanye did that. Or no, Jay-Z did that. You're right.
I think it was Jay-Z's. We should, not that I have a Tidal account, check if that song's on there.
Oh, God.
Because if it's like blacklisted from his streaming, there might be something to it.
The one thing I will say is I do think that it is odd that everyone has to thank her. But I think that they're thanking her because they feel so awkward that she didn't win. But it's like, no artist should be winning that much.
Right.
it's not, I mean, Taylor Swift doesn't win that much.
And yes, that was like a lot of examples. Obviously, some were not direct things that she was up against. That is a few examples. She still has won so many awards. If she was someone who had been snubbed her entire career and was still so successful, then like it makes a little more sense. Like she still has in the 20s of Grammys, if not higher.
Highly successful, cult following, you know, fabulous husband. Like she's done well for life. She doesn't need
fabulous husband. I don't know.
Well, power couple husband.
Yes, power couple
in the music industry.
Yes.
So anyway, I had to do it because it's everywhere. But hopefully we'll get through this election, Jessica, and then there will actually be some good ones that pop up versus what we're seeing now, which is just Trump MAGA nonsense.
There's still gonna be election related for the next few weeks,
right?
But something'll weasel its way through.
So thanks everyone for listening, to our new listeners and our trolls.
Yes, we love you all.
Please go online and engage with our Instagram at Conspi-Reality, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.